Right now, you're listening to the Championship Absolute Football Banter podcast, where we discuss upcoming fixtures, weekly match results, the table, all the clubs, and everything else. Right now, please welcome your hosts, Danny May, Tyler Tarft, Carl May, Dan McGee, Ash White, Ashley Slight, and other special guests. Sit back and enjoy.
Right then, guys, so welcome back to another Absolute Football Banter podcast. I'm joined here with Danny May, Middlesbrough fan. Nice to have you on, Dan.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, we're now in the Easter period of the football fixtures. Hope everyone has had a good Easter weekend. Not as much can do through lockdown, but we make the most of it. And I hope everyone's stayed safe, spent some time with the family. But let's talk about this Easter weekend then, starting with Friday. Obviously, this is always quite an interesting weekend because it's, close to the business end of the season. It's close to coming up to the end of the season and everyone's either fighting for promotion or relegation. So we'll start with Friday then. Obviously, a good one to start with. Bournemouth versus Middlesbrough. Two sides that are up there fighting for either the playoffs or promotion. And I thought it was going to be a close game, obviously Woodgate coming up against his old side. He was going to want some sort of result from this. Dan, what was your thoughts in it on the game?
Well, Bournemouth are a good side, and I thought it was going to be a tough game. If I'm honest, with the we've got Dale Fry out, Marcus Tavernier. We've got players out that are vital to the team. So to be honest with you, I thought we could have scraped a draw, and it was always going to happen. Woodgate was going to seal the deal, and turn us over. And for me, that's put the final nail in the coffin. I don't think the playoffs are achievable now, but we had to just dust ourselves off and push on.
Yeah, I think with Bournemouth they've kept quite a few valuable players from when they come down. Bournemouth's target was always going to be to bounce straight back up this season. Middlesbrough, obviously the first season under Warnock, and I think there's no doubt that Warnock will take you to where you want to be. You've just got to give him time, let him do what he needs to do with a rebuild at Middlesbrough. I think after this season, there's going to be a few going out in the summer, such as Britt Assombalonga. I think they've already confirmed that, and the Assombalonga's going.
Britt's definitely gone. We've got Ashley Fletcher. There's another one that's sort of his contract's coming to an end. They're two strikers that have played an half-decent part for the club, but, they're still just not good enough for the Championship, in my opinion. We need to...
and I think offloading them with such big wages as well will allow you to bring in more, probably better options in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've got the other players of the other strikers of Chuba Akpom. He's just not good enough. I'm not seeing anything from him that excites me. The other one is Duncan Watmore. Duncan Watmore, he works 110% every game. Chips in with goals now and again. He got goal of the month. I think it was last month for his goal against possibly Huddersfield. I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, great. And we can see what he can do. And I think if you look at Duncan Watmore, we need to have strikers a bit better than him. And Duncan Watmore's your player that's meant to come off the bench, not your main striker, what we've got now.
Impacts up.
Yeah, that's what we need. And then he's going to be the person that's going to come on and get you a late winner, or, we need better strikers if we want to go up.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, that Warnock needs that first season sort of see what players he needs to keep. Obviously, there has been talks that you get rid of Asson Belonga. I know there's talks of you getting your goalkeeper in on a permanent deal. He's on loan from Fulham currently. So I think once he does what he needs to do, I think next season could be the real push with him signing a new contract. I think next season will be his real push to go up.
Yeah, I mean, he's had to make do with a very thin squad this season. And he's brought in the likes of Yannick Bolasie, Neeskens Cabano, and we've had our injuries, and I think it's brilliant where he's got us this season so far and what he's had to use. With regards to Marcus Bettinelli, my personal preference, I think he's not the bestest goalkeeper we've seen in a Borough shirt. I would look elsewhere, if I'm honest. But yeah, I mean, I think another window, I think we'll get, a few more players in, and we'll be able to push on next season. Yeah.
Well, we'll move on to the next game then, because I think we've covered Bournemouth versus Borough. So another game that happened on Friday, Bristol City versus Stoke. For me, Bristol City are a side that their season is now done. They was looking at possible relegation fight. I think they will be safe now. I don't see them getting the playoffs now. I don't think they even can, but they probably can, but I don't think they will. Coming up against the Stoke side, who still have playoffs in sight, and it finished 2-0 Stoke in the end. And that's a huge win for Stoke in their push for the late playoffs. Bristol City is just a nothing game to them.
Yeah, I mean, Bristol look like they're just going to finish mid-table. They've blew hot and cold all season. But, Stoke, they're 2 points behind the Borough. And I've written the Borough's playoff chances. And I think we can do the same with Stoke, in my opinion. You've got Reading, Bournemouth and Cardiff, I think, will be the ones that will be fighting for that last playoff place. I think the Barnsley, Swansea and Brentford they'll be in there come the end of the season.
Yeah. So that game's done, then we'll talk about the next one. Cardiff versus Nottingham Forest. Cardiff for a side who have changed their season around massively under Mick McCarthy. They obviously did change it round. They was in a relegation fight, and then after quite a few games under Mick McCarthy, all of a sudden they're up there for the playoffs. Coming up against the Nottingham Forest side that haven't lived up to their potential this season. Obviously, it was never going to be straightforward. They had a manager last year who got them to near enough the playoffs, and then sacking him and bringing in Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton for me is another manager like the Warnocks, the Karanka, who is the right man for this league. And I think with Forest, they've got such an unsettled squad where they've had so many players coming in and out over the recent years. They now need a season or two where they need to have a settled manager, settled squad, maybe not so many ins, but a few outs. And I think Chris Hughton's probably the man to do it. And they did beat Cardiff 1-0 on Friday, which probably is a good result in their hunt to stay up. I think Forest and Cardiff are two sides that will stay in this league for this season. I think Forest are safe now. I think that's fair to say. Cardiff, I don't think will get the playoffs. I just don't think they are good enough. What's your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, again, Forest started the season pretty bad. And in my opinion, I think they've got too many, they've got the likes of Anthony Knockaert, Sammy Abiobis, Lewis Grobbins. I think I think you've got too many players that blow hot and cold. You can't have a consistency within their squad. There's nothing consistent in Nottingham Forest squad.
No.
Anthony Knockaert can have an absolute worldie of a game, same as Joe Lolly. And then the next week, they can have an absolute stinker. Lewis Grabban's the same. Could bang 2 in 1 week. The week after, another stinker. There's not enough consistency in the team. Cardiff, brought in Mick McCarthy. They've got a decent squad. Got Harry Wilson and Josh Murphy, but they're another. I don't think there's something there that's consistent.
Yeah.
The one of them teams, that will have an absolute worldie of a game, but there's nothing stopping them getting beat by big margins.
Yeah. Well, that game's covered, so we'll move on to Derby versus Luton then. Obviously, Luton are probably a side that had a tip to go down this year. Obviously, after last season just staying up, I'd have predicted them to go down this year. I think at the start of the season, you'd probably put them below quite a few of the other teams, but they got Nathan Jones back, who obviously left them for Stoke. They've got him back and they've done quite well this season. And they're a side that will stay up now. I think there's a lot more worse teams than them currently on this form. Coming up against us, obviously I'm a Derby fan, and I didn't feel confident going into this game. The get form we had before the international break was horrendous. We just got no hunger, no fight, no passion within our squad. But we did manage to get a 2-0 win, and I think that's massive for us. We needed that win to show that we do want to stay up. Obviously, Luton are a side that aren't going up, but they aren't going down this season. So I think that took the pressure massively off them going into this one.
Yeah, I think it's a massive win for Derby, to be honest. Derby have been living most of the season in fear of the relegation drop. But they've picked up a win there, a win today. So it's sort of steering them away from the relegation zone. So, I mean, Derby are in the league where they should be. They're not a League One team, in my opinion. At the minute, they're not a Premier League team.
No, not at the minute.
The where they should be. Luton have picked up a few results here and there. And managed to salvage themselves a place for next season, in my opinion.
Yeah. So next game then, Millwall versus Rotherham. Again, Rotherham aside trying to fight off relegation. Millwall are a side that's safe. I think Millwall beat Middlesbrough just before this game, so they had a bit of confidence going into this. Millwall did win the game 1-0, beat Rotherham 1-0, and I think that's a big victory for Millwall because it puts them in that top half of the table and in quite a comfortable position. Millwall are a side that don't spend as much as other teams to be as high as they could do if they spent the money. And under Gary Rowett, he's a manager that can maybe get them in the playoffs with that bit of financial backing. But not a good result for Rotherham in their relegation fight, whereas a good result for Millwall just to make them feel that bit more comfortable coming into these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, they're actually getting there. They're near the playoffs, you see. 2 seconds. Right. So basically, Millwall are pushing for promotion, and we'll have to see how they get on. But I can't see them making it. Rotherham, I think they're pretty much gone, if I'm honest. They're on 35 points at the minute. 6 points adrift of Birmingham. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, definitely. So the next game we'll talk about then is Preston North End versus Norwich. Obviously, another one, a Friday game. Preston, a side that recently sacked their manager, Alex Neil. And I think they was ready for that change. I don't feel like they was going in the right direction. But then again, Preston don't give that financial backing to their managers to be doing anything. But I think they was ready for that bit of a change. I think the players were ready for that change. And coming up against the Norwich side that I think will be back up this season, I don't think there's any stopping them. They're just class. They've kept hold of the manager. They've kept hold of quite a few key players, and that's what they did. This game did finish 1-1. I think it's a good point for Preston. Norwich probably did want the win out of it to make that gap a bit bigger, but it's still a point in the right direction for Norwich. And like I say, Norwich have done the right thing this year, kept hold of the manager, kept hold of them key players.
Yeah, I mean, Norwich, they've been excellent this season. I think if there's any team in the league that deserve to go up, I think it's them.
Yeah.
Preston, on the other hand, have blew hot and cold all season, more cold than hot. But, you know, they're always a mid-table team. There's no improvement and there's no anything lacking in the squad to stay the same every season.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next game then, QPR, Coventry. Obviously, QPR are a side that are staying up this year. They're not going up, they're not going down. Another one of them teams that are just going to sit mid-table, coming up against Coventry side, who Coventry are still in that relegation fight with the other probably 5 or 6 teams down there with them. And QPR did win this game 3-0. I was surprised with that. I thought Coventry's passion and their hunger to stay up might have just managed to get them the win from this game. QPR are a side that didn't really need to fight for this, apart from show that bit of pride, you know, to prove the manager that they want to keep a place and for next season as well. But QPR did win this game 3-0. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, QPR, you know, another mid-table team, seem to stay there most of the season and tend to finish there at the end of the season. I'm quite surprised with the results. Coventry, when we played Coventry at their place, well, St Andrews, I think they were playing at. They gave us a good game. I thought they applied themselves pretty well. So I'm a bit, you know, I'm a bit what's the word? Shocked that they're in 20th position at the minute. I thought they would have pushed mid-table, no more higher, but you know, mid-table team. I thought they would have been after seeing the performance against us.
Yeah, but I think with them, obviously, with the first season up here, I think it's all about staying up this season. There is obviously confirmation now that they will be returning to their home ground, Rico Arena, from next season. So I think if they do manage to stay up this season, get back home next season, get that fans behind them, maybe make a few more signings, get a few out. Obviously, what you do after the first season is staying up. I think maybe next season they'll be able to maybe finish a bit higher or at least be comfortable in this league for another year.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it can't be easy playing at another ground. You know, different surroundings. It's always going to be in the back of your mind when you're playing the game. So, you know, like you say, get them in their own stadium, their own fans, and give it a good push next season.
Yeah. So the next game then, Watford versus Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday. Going into this game, obviously, Watford are a side that are still pushing for that automatic promotion. They're up there fighting with Brentford. It seems to be quite a leapfrog effect where them two keep leaping each other at the minute. So all Watford need to do is keep getting wins to the tally. They was coming up against Sheffield Wednesday side that are down there, bottom 3. So to many people, this would be an easy Watford win, where that's not always the case. You know, Sheffield Wednesday have got just as much to play for as what Watford had. And Sheffield Wednesday have not long got a new manager in. This game did finish Watford 1-0, and that's a massive win for Watford going forward for that automatic position.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, looking at the result and the scoreline, it was a Sheffield own goal that actually was needed for Watford to win the game. Now, when I mean, obviously this is getting recorded on Easter Monday, and we're reviewing the games. So today we've actually played Watford ourselves, and I didn't think there were anything flash. So to be where they are with what I've seen today, I think they're quite fortunate in my opinion. They have grinded out results and done the right things, and obviously are where they are, but relying on own goals Watford, to get 3 points.
Quite a few important players from when they were in the Premier League. I think Watford have kept on, the likes of the Willows, that Sarr player who's on the wing. I think he was like 40 million. So they've kept quite a few really good players within that squad. I think one of the real thing that lets Watford down all the time is the inconsistency with managers. I think if you look at the managers over the past couple of years, they've probably had, 5 managers in 3 years, something daft like that.
Yeah, well, I've never heard of him. He's something called Francisco Javier Munoz Lombard.
Yeah, I know. But that's how inconsistent they are with managers. I've never heard of him. It was a funny one. No, it was a funny one. But yeah. So we'll move on to the next game then. Barnsley versus Reading. Two sides that have massively shocked and overachieved this season. They're probably two sides that if you were looking at them last season, I think Barnsley you would probably predict to finish bottom of the league, maybe second bottom with Wycombe. And Reading were a side that you'd probably say they'll be that mid-table side that they are every year. But they're two sides that have done massive this year. And I think going into the game, it was 5th versus 6th on Friday. I think that's how it sat. So both fighting for that last sort of position within the playoffs. It did finish 1-1, which I think is probably a fair result for both teams.
Yeah, they've both had a good season, haven't they? Barnsley have been absolutely brilliant this season. No one expected them to be up there in the playoff places, and it's well deserved, if I'm honest. Reading themselves, they're another team that have normally been mid-table, there or thereabouts, every season. But their managers got them playing well. So, I mean, good luck to them. It's somewhat different teams up in and around the playoffs. And hopefully the likes of Barnsley can get up into the Premier League and have a taste of that. They've been down in the lower leagues for a good few years now, so
they need to get back up and give it a really good go. So the final game Friday then, Birmingham City versus Swansea. Birmingham City is a side that have been fighting relegation under Karanka. Very recently sacked Karanka and brought in Lee Bowyer. Is it Bowyer?
Lee Bowyer.
Yeah.
Bowyer.
They brought him in and they've picked up a bit of form. I think they won the first game under him. Obviously, Swansea needed this win massively to keep up on that automatic promotion. Over the last couple of weeks, they've dropped off in that bottom form, and now you're thinking, are they even going to make the playoffs? They did lose 1-0 to Birmingham, which is a massive result for Birmingham in that relegation zone, and not the result that Swansea would have wanted in this one.
No, I mean, Swansea seem to have dipped in form lately. They've got a good team as well, Swansea. They seem to, when they turn it on, they play good football. Birmingham's a team that, they've sort of been fighting relegation most of the season, there or thereabouts, But under Karanka, when he was a Borough manager, he got us up there, and I think all the Birmingham fans and Nottingham Forest fans that have had him have thought he'd do the same. Don't know what's gone on, but Lee Bowyer has come in, and I think he'll keep them up. I really do.
I think most of the problem is with Birmingham is the board at Birmingham in terms of they don't back the managers enough. I mean, you look at some of the managers over the years, you look at some of the transfers they've had over the years. I mean, they sold Jude Bellingham and they sold Che Adams, two really big players, for quite big amounts as well. Where's that money gone? Because I've only really seen 3 transfers. I've never really seen a big transfer budget given to any manager that's come in. I've not seen that financial backing that someone needs to get Birmingham back to the Premier League.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. I can understand where the money's gone. They don't even invest it into the stadium. Stadium's not much cop.
but they've got all this money from signings like Jude Bellingham. They've got this money from Che Adams. They've probably even been making money off Coventry borrowing the stadium, surely.
Definitely.
And where's it all going? There's nothing going into the stadium. I just really can't see where any of this money's gone. And this is what I'm saying when Birmingham Board do not back the managers enough. And I think you've even got to look at recent managers over the years, such as when Gary Rowett was in charge. Gary Rowett had them just outside the playoffs. They sacked him. I never really understand that. Gary Monk obviously took over, was given no financial backing really, had the mid-table. So I don't really understand this Birmingham Board in many ways. I think that if there was a bit more supportive, then Birmingham could maybe give it a really good push to get back to the Premier League.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, they have to invest in the squad to get themselves up there, but there's quite a lot of lack of that from the board, definitely.
So we'll move on to there was one game Saturday, Huddersfield versus Brentford. Huddersfield haven't been anything special this season at all. I don't think they've really shown a massive threat of anything, but they're another side that will finish mid-table. They probably won't go down. They probably won't go up. But I think they will be settled in this league for another year. Coming up against Brentford side, who give it a really good push for promotion last season. Really did look dangerous with that BMW front three. Watkins, they did lose some players. They've made a really good replacement, Tony, and they've given it another good go at promotion this season. The only thing they have done, I think they've been a bit shambles in terms of they've dropped points massively to the teams lower at the bottom, such as Derby, Forest. They didn't beat Derby once this season. They obviously not long ago drew to Forest. They're the games that Brentford need to be winning to go for that promotion. They did draw 1-1 with Huddersfield on Saturday, where I think they need to be winning them types of games if they really want that top 2.
Definitely. Brentford are 10 points adrift of second place. They're right in the mix of that, them playoff positions. I think between 6th and 3rd, there's only 3 points. So it's still tight. I mean, Watford and Norwich have sort of run away with it at the minute. And I mean, Huddersfield sat in 18th place. Probably you would have thought they've escaped any relegation threat. But like we say, it's a funny old game. You don't know what's going to happen. Things could take a turn, and the unexpected, and Huddersfield could go down. But in my opinion, I think they've got enough to steal.
Yeah, definitely. So then, today's fixtures, obviously this has been recorded on Easter Monday, so at the time of recording we'll use the term of today. There was quite a few interesting fixtures today. There was a massive one at the bottom. There was a few which featured big teams, and today there was a few shocks in my opinion, and they really were shocks. 2 of the games I did not see coming out of anywhere going into this game. But we'll start with the early kickoff. Obviously, Middlesbrough versus Watford. Borough side like I say, been fighting for the playoffs. Watford are a side that still want that top two. Watford and Middlesbrough did finish 1-1 today. I think probably for Middlesbrough, they would have maybe have took this result going into the game, because obviously Watford are such a good side, whereas Watford needed a win to keep the automatic hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, the game wasn't great. I watched it. The first half was probably one of the most boring games you'll see all season. If I'm honest, a defensive error gave Watford the 1-0 lead in the first half. In the second half, the Borough came out a totally different team. We sort of absorbed the pressure, tried to hit them on the counter, and it was a struggle to break them down. Sam Morsy got an injury, which he's sort of the backbone of the team. He had to go off injured. Yannick Bolasie come on a bit later on and got us an equaliser, which was a vital point in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think all Norwich fans will be loving the Borough today.
Definitely. That's one good result for Norwich, isn't it?
Definitely,
So,
without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, so the next game we'll talk about then, Blackburn Rovers versus Bournemouth. Blackburn, I think, really are struggling. They're a side that at one point I thought might be up there for the playoffs, but I think they're now in the bottom half of the table, if I'm correct.
The 17th.
Yeah, so I thought maybe towards the beginning of the season there'd be a team that would be going for the playoffs. Coming up against the Bournemouth team, who, I think it's that they need to be bouncing straight back up if they want to keep some of their key players. Obviously, for me personally, I didn't think that Bournemouth would still be doing this good under Woodgate. From the time he had at Borough, I honestly weren't expecting him to do this well, but it did finish today. Bournemouth 2, Blackburn 0, and that is a massive result for Bournemouth in this late hopes of going up.
Yeah, it's another T-sider v T-sider. Tony Mowbray and Jonathan Woodgate against each other again. But Bournemouth are a great team. They're going to cause trouble for anyone in this league.
Definitely.
They've still got some great players in there. That David Brooks is a good player. They signed that Ben Pearson from Preston.
From Preston.
Yeah, he's a little ankle biter in the middle. And they've got Dominic Solanke, English under 21. Played with Liverpool. Some great players.
They've got some good talent in there that they've been lucky enough to hold on to.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Jack Wilshere, had a bit of an injury, been a bit injury prone, but probably still would have been on Arsenal's books or a mid-table Premier League team had he not been.
I mean, when he was at Arsenal, there was actually they was saying that Jack Wilshere could be some young talent come the future, and I think with him, injuries have let him down massively over the years. I think had them injuries not happened, he could be playing for some top sides such as, I don't know, United. If them injuries haven't occurred, then I think he'd have been in a different position now to what he is in now.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And I mean, you can even see him now when he played us the other day. He started. You can just see the talent the lad's got. He's cracking football, and Bournemouth they'll be over the moon that they've got him on the books.
Yeah, definitely. So the next game then that we'll talk about is Coventry City versus Bristol City. Coventry side still down there battling to keep away from the relegation zone. Coming up against Bristol City side, like I said, that are just going to stay in this league for another season now. But Coventry, they really did show some passion today. And this is what you need from a side that's down there fighting off relegation. Coventry City did win this game 3-1 against Bristol today. So what a massive win for Coventry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've got to be winning these games, or at least getting points, grinding points to just do what they can to survive. And that 3-1 win is a cracking result for them. Gives them something to go off in the next game. And, to just see how they go. I mean, hopefully, I don't mind Coventry as a team. And I'd like to see them in the Championship next season.
Yeah, and I think the performance Coventry put in today was, the performance you want to see as a fan from your team, especially when they're fighting off relegation. This is when it really matters. These are the last couple of games of the season where this is your last chance to show that you want to stay in this league for another year. If not, you go down a league, and it's as simple as that. Moving on to the next game, then Luton versus Barnsley. Like I said earlier, Luton are a side that will stay in this league for another year. Coming up against Barnsley, Barnsley need to keep winning to stay in the playoffs. And I think that really helped Barnsley today, because Barnsley know they've got something to play for. And they know they need to keep getting the points. They know they need as many wins as they can. And I think having the playoffs on site is what they needed. Barnsley did win 2-1 today, so massive win.
I think Luton, I think Luton are safe now. They're safe. They ain't going down anywhere. But like you say, I think Luton, I don't think they've went there expecting a win, or I think they've went there to just play the game. They've eased. They've got the minds are at ease. I think they know that they're up. They're staying up. Barnsley, like you say, they're fighting for these playoffs. They want nothing more than to be in the Premier League next season. So it just shows that the team that wanted it the more was obviously Barnsley. Luton's minds are at ease. They're staying up.
Definitely. So the next game we'll talk about is Nottingham Forest versus Queen's Park Rangers. After Friday's win for Forest, they needed another win. And I think the two wins will now say that Forest are staying up, and they can now focus on next season. I really don't see Forest going down now after these two big wins. Obviously, coming up against QPR, who are safe in this league for another season anyway. But Forest did win 3-1 today, and I think that's just what Forest needed. In terms of staying up, I think that's what they needed to help them concentrate on staying up, is these two close wins together.
Yeah, I mean, that this win today, I think, sealed the deal for Forest. I think that's kept them up. They will go down now. QPR, again, like I said in the previous game review, they're a mid-table team that, are always going to be there. They'll win some, they'll lose some, blow out and cold. But yeah, I mean, it's a great win for Forest. It's probably secured them Championship football
for another year.
Yeah, definitely.
So next game then, Reading versus Derby. Obviously, Reading needed the win from this because they're still fighting for them playoffs. And I think, looking at today, they really had to go and get something. For me, being a Derby fan, I was hopeful that we could get something from this. Obviously, the confidence from Friday's game, I thought we could pick up confidence from that, go and get a result from Reading, and we just blew it. I thought we played okay right up until Reading got their first goal in the 35th plus third minute of injury time in the first half. They went 1-0 up. Second half, Reading come out wanting it more, got an early second goal. And for me, that was game done. Reading did win 3-1 in the end, and I think the only positive to take from Derby's game today is the screamer from Tom Lawrence, and I honestly think we can't take anything else positive from that.
Yeah, I mean, Reading are a tough team to play this season, and they've got some great players. They've got the Lucas Jow and Ajari here, players like that. And they're another team that are really, really want to push for these playoffs. I didn't see the game. Can't really
You want to
comment
watch
on.
the screamer from Tom Lawrence, though?
Was it a great goal? Was it?
Oh, honestly, it's probably the goal of the season. Got to be.
Right. Well, I'll have to play that back when I get a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Reading are a good team this season. So a 3-1 win, they'll be over the moon with that. Derby, they probably could have done with a win there to just sort of push themselves back up, secure, more so put a cement in their place for next season.
Yeah, we need to get to 50 points so we can say that we're safe. So
we'll just see how that pans out. Rooney's first job, see if he can keep Derby up.
Definitely. So the next game then, Rotherham versus Wycombe. Obviously a massive game in that relegation zone. Massive. Both teams in a relegation zone. And for me, I'm honestly going to say I thought this would be a Rotherham win. I really did. I thought maybe 2-0 Rotherham, home advantage. Well, I know there's no home advantage without fans, but I just thought Rotherham would be that bit too much for Wycombe. This game did finish 3-0 Wycombe. So massive result for Wycombe. The fight still showing that they want to stay up, and they're showing that fight and passion you need to see from a team fighting the relegation zone in these last couple of games. Yeah,
if I'm honest, I think with the Wycombe win, it sort of seals the deal that Wycombe and Rotherham go down. I think Rotherham needed that. They needed the 3 points there to fight. Yeah, to try and fight and stay up. But I think that seals the deal. I do think that Chef Wed might even leapfrog Rotherham and possibly push to get out of it. But that's still a tall order. But we'll see how them 3 places pan out. But I do think Rotherham and Wycombe will be in there come the end of the season.
Definitely. So the next game then, Stoke versus Millwall. I think they're both sides that are around each other in the table, 9th and 10th sort of positions, 10th, 11th, I don't know. I know they're pretty close together, and I think they both needed the win today as much as each other, just to keep them hopes of the playoffs a bit more. I think if Stoke would have won this after that win on Friday, then I think Stoke might have gone for the playoffs, and it put them in a good position. But today it finished 2-1 Millwall. That makes it 3 wins on a bounce for Millwall. So what a form they're on.
Yeah, I mean, well, like you say, just to correct you there, mate, it's Millwall are in 9th and Stoke are in 11th.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, and Borough in 10th. But yeah, I mean, big win for Millwall. That sort of pushes himself away from Stoke, and pushes them on. Gives them that little boost towards the playoffs. I still think it's a tall order, if I'm honest, for Millwall to get into the playoffs, but they're doing all they can to get in there.
Yeah. So next game we'll talk about then, Swansea versus Preston. Swansea needed some sort of reaction from losing Friday's game against Birmingham. Obviously Swansea have been a class side all season, and for me they've been a side that I've put to go automatically up from all season. They've come into this bad run of form to where now you're saying, are they even going to make the playoffs? They're on this bad run of form. Are they actually going to drop out of the playoffs? They did lose today, 1-0 to Preston North End. So from that defeat on Friday to Birmingham and a defeat from Preston today, it's put them in a real bad position. Because are they going to drop out of the playoffs is the next question.
Yeah, I mean, the consistency of them lately is terrible, isn't it? You see Swansea there, they're 10 points adrift from automatics, and they are as well 3 points from dropping out of the playoffs. So, this playoffs is really going to hot up towards the end of the season. I still think there's going to be a couple of more twists and turns. But if Swansea don't up the game soon, they'll see
They'll drop
themselves.
out.
They'll start to see themselves dropping out of there.
Definitely.
But I mean, just on Preston as well, it's a big win for them. But
I think they've picked up some form.
Yeah, they've sat 16th in the table. They're not going down. They're not going to go in the playoffs. It's another mid-table finish for Preston.
And like I said earlier on in the podcast, I think this new run of sort of good form for Preston proves they was ready for that change from Alex Neil, ready for new management. And I think if they hadn't have got rid of Alex Neil when they did, I think they could be a real threat of a relegation fight right now if they kept hold of him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. They sort of got themselves in a rut of getting loss after loss with Alex Neil. But yeah, they've got a new manager in. Another one that I've never heard of, Frankie McAvoy. But if you can get a 1-0 win against Swansea, you must be doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. So final result then of Easter Monday, and I think this has to be the result of the whole weekend, not just today, the whole weekend. Obviously Sheffield Wednesday aside that are in that bottom three and needed some sort of result today to get away from that bottom three, or at least start to getting away against it. Coming up against the Cardiff side, who, like I say, under Mick McCarthy have picked up form, gone from relegation fighters to, playoff fighters now. And it finished 5-0 Sheffield Wednesday. I still can't believe it. Obviously, me being a Derby fan, not a result we wanted to see at all. We needed a Cardiff win from this, just to make us feel that bit more safer. But 5-0 Sheffield Wednesday, fair play to Sheffield Wednesday, That's, like I say, that's the performance you need to see from your team.
But that's a performance you want to see for someone that's trying to scrap and get out of the relegation zone. 2 ex-Borough players, Adam Reach and John Rhodes on the score sheet, get 3 between them. And, for Cardiff, they've lost the last 2, I believe. Was it the lose Friday as well?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so, I mean, they got beat by Forest 1-0. So,
yeah,
it's not looking great for them on this promotion push that they're wanting to try and push for. It's not looking good. The last 2 games, 2 losses. I don't think they've got it in them now to get in there, if I'm honest. No. I think Reading and Barnsley, possibly Bournemouth, might push themselves in there and knock one of them out. But yeah, I think the likes of Cardiff, Millwall, the Borough and Stoke, I don't think they're going to make it.
Yeah, so there's been, after this weekend, there's been lots of twists and turns. There's been a lot of big results at both sides of the table, and it really does make this league interesting and probably one of the most competitive and best leagues in the world for me. You can never predict anything that's gonna happen. I think this weekend's just stuck that sticker on it for that. So yeah,
definitely. I mean, you see the Premier League. The teams that come down from the Premier League. I mean, Newcastle spent years and years in the Premier League. They came down to the Championship. And they said they're one of the teams that said, I know they come up successfully after the first time of asking next season going back up in the Premier League, but they said it's one of the hardest leagues to get out of.
Definitely.
Once you're in here, Borough, as a Borough fan, we went up a few years back, come straight back down, and look at us now. We're struggling to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great competitive league. It's nice to see your team winning most weeks, but it's why we love it so much.
And I think it really does show you how hard this league is to get out of when you see how many years some of the teams have been in this league. Ipswich were in it for the longest, I believe, with about 17 years, I think, maybe longer. Leeds were in this league for 16 years before they went up. Derby and Forest are probably on par at the minute for how long we've both been in this league now. I think we've both been in here 15, 16 years now. Obviously, the last time we went up was 2008, 2007 and 8, when we got the lowest points in the league. And I think that really does show.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few, isn't there? I mean, I think Blackburn have been down for a while. I think Preston will have been in around League One Championship for quite a while. Yeah. So, you know, there's quite a few there, but I love the Championship.
Definitely.
I mean, we when the Borough went up, and we got the likes of Victor Valdez, Gaston Ramirez. We had some outstanding players, but we got battered every week.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather be competitive in the Championship than getting battered every week in the Premier League.
Absolutely.
I mean, if the Borough will go up this season, which obviously it's not going to happen, I'd hate to see it because I know we're not ready. I know that we'd get battered week in, week out. So we need to be stably right to go up.
Yeah. So before I move on to the next thing, have you got anything you want to add to the Championship weekend?
No, I think we've covered all aspects of that.
So then very quickly, before we probably say a goodbye, there is 2 games tomorrow night, obviously Tuesday. So depending on when you're listening to this, Tuesday the 6th of April, we're talking about Brentford versus Birmingham and Norwich versus Huddersfield. Just before we go, score predictions for them 2 games.
You'd like to say that Brentford would get a win at Birmingham, but you know, with the Lee Bowyer effect, so to speak, you know, I'm gonna go with a draw. Brentford have been a bit sketchy lately, so yeah, I'll go with a 1-1 draw. Norwich Huddersfield. Norwich have been exceptional. Huddersfield not very consistent. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 win Norwich.
I think I'm going to say a 2-1 Brentford win. I think Brentford have to show a bit more from that draw to Huddersfield at the weekend. And if obviously with Watford dropping the points today, they need to show a bit more. Norwich Huddersfield, I think that's just going to be a walk in the park for Norwich, if I'm completely honest. I'm probably going to say a 3-0 Norwich win on that one. Yeah,
definitely. I'd have went with a 3-1. Norwich have been brilliant. So I can't see anything other than a Norwich win.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with 1-1 Brentford Birmingham, 3-1 Norwich Huddersfield.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to add to the podcast before we
not really. If you want to take your time out while we're here, Tyler, promote your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so obviously my YouTube channel is Tyler Tarft. I do Derby County vlogs mainly, but I do other football related content videos. I do a few personal vlogs as well. Obviously my next target is 2,000 subscribers. So if everyone could go and take a look at my channel, that would be massively appreciated.
Excellent. And I believe we're going to get some guests on, aren't we, in due course?
Yeah, we are aiming to get a few guests on in the next couple of weeks if we can.
Even some high-profile guests like possibly Jeff Winter. We're in discussions with Jeff Winter, the ex-Premier League referee, coming on. A couple of non-league scouts talking about scouting. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated and we'll let you know about that.
Yeah, to anyone who's listening, if you want to join our groups, we've got the Absolute Football Banter page. If you go and give that a like on Facebook, that's where we'll keep you updated on podcasts. We post the podcasts on there when they're uploaded. We'll announce guests and stuff like that on there. So if you want to go and give them a like and a follow, that would be appreciated. We've also got banter groups that we've got. We've got Championship Absolute Football Banter Group, and we've got All Leagues Absolute Football Banter Group. If you want to join both of them, it's a great laugh, great banter with everyone on there, and quite a close group of people where it's all just a laugh, nothing personal. So if you want to join them, that'd be massively appreciated. And thank you for listening to our podcast today. Thank you to Danny Mayfair for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time, guys, on this podcast. And thanks for listening.
Thank you. See you later.